In the quiet sanctuary of her room, a young girl eagerly unravels a peculiar present, a dollhouse of astonishing details. As if under a spell, the world outside fades away, all sounds swallowed by an overwhelming silence. The only audible thing is the soft crinkle and tear of wrapping paper, the whispers of her anticipation echoed in the stillness of her room. The gift was unexpected, a surprise that had mysteriously found its way to her doorstep, a nameless sender whose intentions were as unclear as the unmarked box it came in. The moment she lifted the lid, her breath hitched in her chest, caught by the enchanting sight that lay inside. A dollhouse. Not just any dollhouse, mind you, but a miniature world of such painstaking detail that it felt like she peered into a parallel universe, one that was a mirror reflection of her own. Her small hands reached out, hesitantly yet irresistibly drawn to the marvel that lay before her eyes. The miniature furniture was exquisite, each tiny room a separate chapter, a different story waiting to be unraveled. Fascination twinkled in her eyes as they drank in the sight of the Lilliputian world. A tiny kitchen complete with porcelain sink and polished copper pots. A cozy living room adorned with a library of miniature books by the fireplace. Bedrooms that were perfect replicas of comfort with their soft beds and elegant wardrobes full of clothes, no bigger than her thumb. Yet it wasn't just the house that caught her eye. It was the inhabitants that truly took her breath away. The dolls in the house were painstakingly crafted, each one eerily lifelike, their features meticulously painted, their clothes sewn with an uncanny precision. An old woman, her wrinkles etched with a precision that was both beautiful and unsettling, sat in a rocking chair, an elegant lady poised to pour tea, a gentleman engrossed in his newspaper. As she immersed herself in the world before her, the room remained silent, punctuated only by the rhythmic ticking of the wall clock and her soft gasps of awe. Yet within the silence, a strange hum grew, as if the dollhouse was alive, its occupants watching her with their glassy eyes and painted smiles. The bewitching details of the toy kept her entranced, oblivious to the growing chill creeping up her skin, the goosebumps on her bare arms merely a physical testament of the unease that was slowly seeping into her consciousness. Yet her focus remained unwavering, her fingers lightly tracing the tiny details of the dollhouse, her mind lost in the world that was unfolding before her. As the hours slipped by, the daylight slowly retreated, the golden hues of the setting sun casting long, ominous shadows across the room. The soft, fading glow of twilight tints the dollhouse, highlighting its intricate details, making even more lifelike, their painted eyes gleaming in the diminishing light. The girl barely notices the setting sun, her attention utterly absorbed by the dollhouse as the room around her descends into the eerie arms of twilight. As darkness cloaks the world outside, the shadows in her room morph, lengthen, and twist into ominous shapes. With each passing moment, the dollhouse assumes a more sinister demeanor. The last vestiges of sunlight surrender to the encroaching darkness, the room plunging into an inky black void. The only source of light is the cold, ethereal glow of the moonlight seeping through her window, painting the dollhouse in an otherworldly aura, hinting at the unfolding terror that lay ahead. As the moon ascends, the dollhouse undergoes an unearthly metamorphosis. The tiny inhabitants, once inert, begin to stir, their molded smiles twisting into grotesque grimaces. What were once innocent play implements, sources of joy and creativity, start to move in an unnerving, almost lifelike manner, their actions shadowed with an insidious intent. The dollhouse, which used to be a charming miniature world of make-believe, evolves into a ghoulish version of itself, pulsing with a deeply unsettling aura. The dolls, once silent and still, now possess an eerie semblance of life, their plastic limbs bending and flexing in ways eerily akin to human movement. Their painted eyes, once devoid of expression, now glimmer with a foreboding light, mirroring a sinister presence lurking just out of sight. Where once their movements were orchestrated by the innocent hands of a child, they now seem to be guided by an unholy force. These miniature effigies, once merely props in whimsical games of pretend, have mutated into objects of fright, the chilling spectacle of their antics imbuing the dollhouse with an aura of menace. The dollhouse itself, initially a stage for harmless play, now reflects the grim realities of a world turned upside down. Each room becomes a tableau of horror. The once vibrant kitchen, the scene of pretend feasts and tea parties, now hosts a horrifying banquet. The dolls sit, grotesque parodies of guests, consuming dishes too twisted for words. The once cheery colors of the miniature kitchen have been swallowed by a pervasive gloom, the silence within its confines shattering the illusion of playtime, echoing the specter of terror that now reigns. The doll-sized bedroom, previously a sanctuary of dreams, morphs into a chamber of nightmares. The dolls reenact grim scenarios within the room's confines, their actions a dark pantomime of terror. Beneath the doll-sized sheets, the dreams of the dolls have turned into scenes of horror, their uncanny movements further accentuated by the macabre glow of the moonlight. The child, once filled with joy at the sight of her dollhouse, now watches these grotesque happenings with horror gripping her heart. The once cozy playroom has contorted into a theater of terror, the doll's performances a chilling caricature of reality. A sense of creeping dread permeates the room, each tick of the clock echoing in the silence, each moment stretching into an eternity of fear. Every corner of her once safe playroom now presents a picture of horror. The toy chest, previously a treasure trove of delights, has transformed into a Pandora's box of terror, its contents twisted and deformed. The wallpaper, once adorned with friendly patterns flowers, seems to teem with unseen monsters. Every toy, every object in the room seems to be tainted with this overwhelming sense of dread. Her haven of innocent play has turned into a stage for unspeakable horrors. The girl's room transformed into a theater of the macabre. She watches helplessly as her sanctuary of joy twists into a sight of terror, a cruel mockery of her innocent childhood. Her playroom is now a stage for a gruesome spectacle, the doll's performances a terrifying interpretation of her deepest, darkest. The girl, consumed by an uncanny realization, is sent into a chilling frenzy of dread as it dawns upon her that the dollhouse, once a plaything, is an ominous portal into a nightmarish realm. A rush of icy understanding sweeps over her, the cool sting prickling her skin into a field of goosebumps. Her heart pulsates against her ribcage like a frantic war drum, resonating the terror that invades the privacy of her room. A nauseatingly sweet scent, reminiscent of long-forgotten childhood memories, permeates the air from the dollhouse, serving as a rotten memento of forsaken innocence. It feels as though the atmosphere has densified, heavy with the putrid stench of terror, mingling with the unearthly essence of a world beyond her comprehension. As the rooms around her seem to undulate, she bizarrely shrinks in size, compelled by a spectral force. Entranced, she finds herself drawn towards the dollhouse, her small hands reaching out towards the artfully painted facade with a terrifying urgency she cannot control. Powerless against the invisible tether, she's lured into the scaled-down horror, her size now perfectly matching the dollhouse's sinister frame. The dolls, once inanimate, now move with a disturbing intent. Their painted smiles, previously benign, have disturbingly contorted into cruel, mocking sneers. The unsettling gaze from the doll's glass eyes appears to penetrate her soul, their vacant stares filled with a creepy cognizance that sends chills through her spine. Her frantic attempts to escape are met with an eerie resistance, as if the house itself conspires against her. Every effort to pull away only entangles her further, every struggle inadvertently drawing her deeper the horrifying abyss. The once cherished plaything has now morphed into a prison of unimaginable terror, a malevolent parody of joyous times. Her cries for help reverberate through the tiny rooms of the house, becoming distorted and twisted until they are reduced to pathetic whimpers. She finds herself utterly alone, ensnared in this nightmarish reality of her own creation, her pleas for mercy falling on deaf plastic ears. The dolls move around her in a mechanical, deliberate manner, executing the will of the house, the will of the nightmare. In a tragic twist of fate, the girl finds herself trapped in the dollhouse of horrors, a prisoner in her own living nightmare. The once comforting walls of her room now serve as a chilling backdrop to her plight, a stark reminder of her entrapment in a realm where her innocent toys have been transformed into her merciless tormentors. The girl, now a tiny figure trapped within the malevolent dollhouse, is a prisoner in her own nightmare, forever ensnared in her child's plaything, the horror that never ends.